Hello my friend, in this video I'm going to answer the question how long it takes to learn Ableton and how you can learn Ableton faster. It takes 6 months to learn Ableton. A typical beginner will take between 6 and 12 months to learn Ableton, while someone with experience with other recording programs will take between 1 and 2 months. However, it's definitely worth mentioning that most users of Ableton find that they're constantly picking up new tips, tricks, and techniques, and on top of that, Ableton provides updates quite frequently, with smaller updates coming every couple of months and larger updates coming every few years. And all of that is new stuff that you need to learn, and it's basically just something that you're going to be constantly improving with. And before I continue, I wanted to let you know that I've also written an article on this topic, so if you'd like to follow along, or if you simply prefer the written word format, simply Google "How long it takes to learn Ableton Best Friends Club." So learning Ableton can take anywhere between a few weeks and a few months. If you're a really slow learner, it could take even longer than that. But really the main thing that will influence how long it takes you to learn Ableton is how much time you dedicate to learning Ableton. The time it takes you to learn Ableton depends on how often you practice or study, and how much experience you already have, and if you are learning by yourself or with the help of tutorials or courses. The more time and effort you put into learning Ableton, the sooner you will really start to get it. It's also worth noting that Ableton is a very, very deep software. There's a lot you can do with Ableton, so it'll take months to learn, but years to master. If you already have experience with other DAWs like Fruity Loops, Pro Tools, Logic, or Cubase, it'll be a lot easier for you to learn Ableton. Many of the features you find on one piece of recording software, you can expect to find on another. They all, at the end of the day, are very similar and are made to create sweet, sweet music. So what's the main difference between Ableton and other recording software? If you've used recording software before, the main difference you will notice about Ableton is that it has two separate views. The first is the arrangement view, which looks like your typical recording software and organizes music in a timeline view going from left to right. The second view is called the session view, which allows you to record music into clips and launch them in a more performative way. If you're more experienced, then it is mainly the session view which might stump you. So how long will it take you to learn Ableton? When it comes to finding how long it will personally take you to learn Ableton, there are a few questions you should ask yourself to find the true answer. One is how much time you can dedicate each day to learning Ableton. 2 is how much experience you have with other recording software. And 3, do you plan on taking a dedicated course about learning Ableton? Remember that your results will vary, but remember that the more time you put into learning Ableton, the faster you will learn it, and it really is that simple. A common question is, do you need additional equipment to learn Ableton? It's a good question, and I have a very simple answer for you. You do not need any additional equipment to learn Ableton. As long as you have a computer that can run Ableton and a way to play back your music, like speakers or headphones, then you have everything you need to make music with Ableton. Things like fancy studio monitors, MIDI controllers, synthesizers, and hardware effects can make it more fun, and in some cases it could make it easier to make good music, but it's not at all necessary, and it can be very easy to fall into the trap to think that you need the latest shiny device in order to make music. The truth answer is that you don't. In fact, if you're just starting out, then just make do with what you have and make upgrades as you go. Don't hold off on starting to learn Ableton just because you think you need to buy a specific piece of gear. Remember again that the more time you put into learning Ableton, the faster you will learn it. If you're waiting to get a piece of gear, you're not learning Ableton. So with that out of the way, what is the best way to learn Ableton as fast as possible? Now that we have a pretty good idea of how long it takes to learn Ableton and what you need to start making music with Ableton today, the next logical step is to figure out what is the best way to go about learning Ableton if you want to learn it as quickly as possible. So I've gone ahead and created a list of 6 things you need to do to learn Ableton quickly. These are both things I've done to learn Ableton and things that I wish I did when I first started learning Ableton. So enough rambling, let's jump right into it. The first step is to use free YouTube videos. You'd be surprised at how many high quality videos you can find about learning Ableton on YouTube. Sure, you need to watch out for bad videos, but the cream does rise to the top on YouTube. Seek out the videos with the most views to start, and to be honest, I still use YouTube constantly today to learn new techniques and see how other producers are doing things. The second thing is to set a specific study time or schedule. The number one thing that will help you learn Ableton faster is simply putting in the time, which I've mentioned like 4 or 5 times now. So set a time in your routine that will be dedicated to learning Ableton. A simple hour every day can really add up to huge progress. You don't need to force 3 or 4 hours of work in. That is how you actually burn out. Slow and steady is the way, baby. And even if it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, just make sure that you're consistent in how you're doing this. The third thing is RTFM, which is read the manual. I would recommend diving into this tip a bit later, definitely after starting with YouTube videos and experimenting on your own, but the manual is often overlooked for just about every single product out there, but it does hold literally all the information and clearly tells you everything that the software can do. It takes a while to get through, I will admit. It took me about 3 weeks, reading about 30 to 60 minutes a day, but it definitely helped me to get to know the ins and outs of the DAW. I should also mention that I was taking notes while doing this too. I wasn't reading it like a book. Fourth is to consider investing in an Ableton course. If you have the money to spend, a course can help walk you through everything you need to know. Courses solve the problem of not knowing where to start or what order to do things. However, you can definitely do everything in YouTube, just as long as you don't mind digging through and searching a little bit more. And 5 is just to make some dang music. The only way to get better at things is by doing them. Make sure you switch between studying and practicing what you've just learned. Have YouTube and Ableton open at the same time, look up things as you need to, and apply them directly in Ableton. With that said, hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe so you can see more of this stuff. Good luck on your next song. I hope that it turns out amazing and it's the ultimate banger of all time. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video, my friend. Have a good one.